Welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I'm Ella Nitri, the TV and movie junkie with a fro. Today we are going to be talking about one of Netflix's newest series, Stranger Things. Stranger Things is a series. It's like a sci-fi thriller that was created by the Duffer Brothers. This is my first time of ever, as much as like I'm into TV and stuff, this is my first time hearing anything about the Duffer Brothers. Maybe I'm late, maybe I'm behind or whatever, but this was my first thing, that I've seen them do. And like I said, the cinematography in this show, it was so on point. Like, the show is set back in like the 1980s, specifically 1983 in Hawkins, Indiana. And well, it's a fictional town, Hawkins, Indiana. That's where it's set. And when I say the Duffer Brothers and everybody else who's helping them out, they really did a great job, I have to say that up front, of catapulting us back into the 80s. Like, everything from the clothes, the cars, the hairstyles, the slang, the language that was used, or whatever. It was so 80s. Like, it would make you think that if you didn't know any better, or if you didn't know any better, you would think that this movie was actually made in 1983 and not 2016. So yeah, I want to commend them on doing a great job on that. But as far as the show itself goes, it's really short. I'm not used to, I'm used to Netflix having short series. To me, short, I feel like 13 episodes of something that I like, sometimes I feel like that can be too short. But this one was actually 8 episodes. And I'm like, what? 8 episodes? Like, is this like a mini Netflix series? Like, is this where they're headed, toward the mini series or whatever? Because this is like only 8 episodes. It was like an hour an episode, but they were only 8 episodes. So I got through this thing in like one day. And like I say, I'm not a sci-fi thriller type person. Like, that is not my go-to movie. I will watch them, but it is just not my go-to to watch. Like I say, I love anything that's, I love dramas, comedies, actions, thrillers, horrors, but sci-fi would not be my go-to. I didn't run to the theaters to see Star Trek and hadn't seen it yet. Didn't run to the theaters to see Star Wars, have not seen that yet. So that's just not, something that I would just gravitate towards. But with all the hype that was surrounding this particular show on Netflix, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try and see what it was about. But basically, this show is centered around 4 best friends. You have Mike, you have Will, you have Lucas, and you have Dustin, who was my favorite. Like, I love me some Dustin. He was so funny. He really helped make that show, because it was really good. He was really good. But anyway, it's centered around these 4 best friends. While they were at Mike's house, playing like little boys do. It's a school night, so they had to end up leaving, and going home, because Mike's parents pretty much put them out and said, okay, it's time for you guys to go home. It's a school night. So on the way home, we follow Will Byers, and Will ends up, going missing on that. He ends up having like an accident on his bike. He makes it home, but something comes in and grabs him up. But before all that happens, Will was on it. Like, he was not a punk. Like, he was trying to fight this thing, trying to save himself pretty much. And he was not just gonna cry and just let the thing take him. He did fight, but he was taken. So he disappeared. So people didn't find out that Will was gone until the next morning. Like, his own mom, like, because she was a single mom, who was played by Winona Ryder. And she was a single mom, and she didn't find out her child was missing, probably working a late night shift or something. Didn't find out her kid was missing until the next morning, when she got up to make breakfast for both of her sons, because she's a single mom of 2. So she found out her son was missing. The first thing she does, like any parent would do, run straight to the police. And they have this, I think he's a sheriff, captain. They call him Captain Hopper. he was the chief of police in that particular town, in that small town. So she ran straight to him, telling him her son is missing. He needs to do whatever he can do to find him. Because at first, Hopper started to piss me off because it was just like, oh, he didn't care. He was so nonchalant and everything. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, this woman is telling you her kid is missing. I need you to, get it together and get some people together and try to find this child or whatever. So, and when Will went missing, we didn't really see, where he went. We just know that something grabbed him up, and that was the last time that we saw him during that first episode. But he eventually, Captain Hopper got his shit together and started putting together volunteers to go out on this search party to find Will. So that was the whole, that was the premise of the show, that he was missing. And then his friends didn't find out until, like I said, the next day when they went to school and stuff. So, they were gung-ho about finding their friend. They are all best friends. Smart little boys too. Like, they're really into science, and they've won all type of awards, and, just all kinds of stuff like that. But on the flip side of that, they are pretty much treated as like the outsiders at school and like the geeks or whatever. You know how bullies are, the cool kids, try to push the other ones to the side, but that's how they are. So they stick closely together because they're all interested in the same thing. They have the same interests, and that's how they rock. But back to Will, and like I said, Winona Ryder, to me, this woman played this character. It's Emmy time for her. Like, it is Emmy time for her for this particular series, because she was so ride or die. Like, I'm saying, this woman was not taking no for an answer. She was just like, I know that my son is alive. I mean, she was going through every length possible to find her kid. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. She cried and everything. I mean, like a normal parent would. I'm a parent, so I know. So she cried and stuff, but she didn't just sit in the corner and be like, I'm just gonna give up and lay in the bed all day and just, not get out and try to do something to, find her kid herself. But yeah, she handled business. Like, in her performance on there, you would think that, I mean, looking into it, you could just feel the pain, that she was portraying with this character, like somebody who lost their kid or whatever. So hats off to Winona Ryder for this particular role. So with the disappearance of Will Byers, like I say, everybody's out at this point looking for him. They got this search party going on looking for Will. Next up, we see this young girl, like with this shaved head. She comes into this diner, like a little, country diner. So she comes into the diner, she sneaks in there. She has a hospital gown on or whatever, and she, just starts eating the food. And then all of a sudden the manager of the diner, sees her, and she is, she's not talking that much. And it looks like, she's escaped from somewhere, and he's trying to figure out, where she is. But the little girl, like, her name is 11. 11 is this little girl who has superpowers. Like, she can move things with her mind, like telepathy and all that type of stuff. And she escaped from this lab that was holding her. So she escaped from the lab. They had been using her for their benefit to do the things that they wanted her to do or whatever. So for them, like this science lab that's like in the town, but they may be on the outskirts of the little small town of Hawkins. So 11 escapes, and like I say, these people are looking for her. Like, 11 is a hot commodity, and the reason they call her 11 is because she has the number 11. They tagged her, and it's tattooed like on the inside of her wrist. So the little girl, that's what they call her. She's 11. So eventually, like, so the people from the lab, like, they're looking for her, and they end up finding her at this diner, with this man. She's just a little scared kid, hungry, probably been running all night or whatever. So they come in, they kill the dude, like, kill the guy that's running the diner and helping this child. He's thinking that they're from, like, the, defects people or somebody who's coming to take her back to, like, a home, or maybe she left the hospital before time or whatever. So the people, they just come in and they just blast old dude. So they blast him, 11 runs away. She ends up at Mike's house, or she ends up finding Mike, which is one of the four friends or whatever. So she ends up, Mike takes her in. He hides her from his parents. He lets her stay in the basement and everything. So, and they develop this friendship and, all that kind of stuff. So she's and she lets him know that she knows Will and she knows where Will is. So yeah, that has really piqued his interest because he wants to find his best friend Will. And if this girl can help him, then yeah, he's gonna go with it. So like I said, they become close, they become friends. This child doesn't know anything because she's pretty much been raised in a lab, as a lab rat or whatever her whole life. So she doesn't know what a TV is. She doesn't know what a lazy boy chair is. Like, she doesn't know anything like that. Like, certain things that they say, like words like that you use in everyday language or whatever, she does not understand, what a best friend is or anything like that. So she they teach her a lot of things. She teach them a lot of things. They know that, they find out pretty quickly that she can, move things with her mind. They have she has psychic abilities and things like that. But I just want to say that this show does pay homage to a lot of old 80s movies. Like, if you're an 80s movies fan, like, the Goonies, like the kids reminded me of the kids in Stranger Things reminded me a lot of the kids from the Goonies. Like, it was like that type of friendship, that type of bond between them. Also, you have a lot of references, like with the movie E.T., Stephen King's Firestarter. Like, there are, when you look at this movie, you can see that the Duffer Brothers really paid homage to those particular movies through this show. And it shows this must have been like their favorite thing growing up, because they really let it show through here. And it's good because it was done, in a good way. Some people weren't too happy that they felt like, oh, well, they're copying E.T. or whatever, they're copying the Goonies. It's not about that. If you like something, that goes for music or whatever. Like, you hear people sample people's music all the time, but they turn around and make their own. And I feel like this is what the Duffer Brothers did with this particular show. And, like I say, I commend them for even giving us a show that, set in 1983. And they make you feel like you're watching a show that was actually filmed in 1983. And another interesting fact that I found out, one of my coworkers, he was looking at it, and I was getting on him about, like, look, make sure you go and look at this so we can talk about it at work the next day. So he looked at it, he watched it, he binge watched it. He was done in probably like 2 days, and he was like, Toya, he was like, something, this movie was shot like right down the street from my house, and he lives in Jackson, Georgia, and he was telling me that he could recognize some places from the show. So he was like, it was shot like right in Jackson, Georgia. And I'm like, okay, so that's interesting that they shot it here in Georgia. So like I said, and when Will, like, the mom ended up, like, people thought she was crazy. Winona Ryder's character, they thought she was crazy because she was saying that her child wasn't dead. So they found this dead body that was in the water that was Will's body, and she was just like, that is not my child. I don't know what that is, but that is not my kid. And lo and behold, it was not Will's body, because Will had been communicating with her. And this show just, flipped around, because it was all about, like, Will was caught up in this other dimension with this lanky looking human like creature that was coming out. Like, he would kill some things and eat them and take them over to the dimension where he was and finish killing them. But he was taking some people over there to use their bodies to harvest, I'm assuming harvesting other creatures. So I'm thinking that's what he's doing, and I really feel like there's what they're going to show us more of in the next season. So at the end of the day, Will did get a chance to come back home, but like I say, it's not over yet. They did find Will. They had to end up going into this other dimension that they call the Upside Down, and he did end up coming home. But I just don't feel like Will is going to be the same. He's not going to be the same anymore. But like I say, you should check it out. Stranger Things on Netflix, 8 episodes. You have to watch it. And if you have watched Stranger Things, make sure you comment below, let me know. and we can talk about it. But like I said, the movie is great. Like the show is pretty darn phenomenal, and I will be tuning in for season 2, and I can't wait. And I think it's already been greenlit. Season 2 has already been greenlit. But yeah, the Duffer Brothers, they definitely did their thing on this one, and I mean, it was a really good show. Usually Netflix series, they really don't disappoint because most of the time they are super original, and they really give you what they say that they're going to give you, and they really come through. And that's what I love about watching Netflix series. So like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Ella Nitri, your TV and movie junkie with the fro, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.